But we have our fourth and final guest ready to come on. He's been waiting patiently. He got to see that firsthand from our virtual green room. I'm gonna bring him in here in a second. He is going to be challenging Jarod Grant for the interim title, the bantamweight title, on July 23rd in the main event. He is an OG. He is educated hands, Eaz-E, Reggie Barnett Jr. What's up, brother?
What's
Yes.
up, fellas? What's up?
What's
Oh,
going on, man?
hey.
What'd you think about that interview with Jomi?
Man, look, I can't take it to that level. You know, I got fans and kids and all that stuff that watch and follow me. So I ain't gonna be dropping as many F bombs as Jomi did. But
Man,
you know,
yeah,
hey, sometimes it be like that. That's just how you feel about it, especially if you feel disrespected in that way. You know, I
Mhm,
I
mhm.
I understand his sentiment. You know, I had a few guys that I felt the same way about. So we'll see if he can keep, even though he's fired up and feeling that way, if he can keep a level mind going into the
Mhm.
fight.
right.
Because any veteran fighter knows that you don't get in there fight based upon emotion and anger and feelings. You get in there and you execute upon your craft and your skill, not how you feel. I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
it.
man. Absolutely. Going in there that fired up could be detrimental, but it could also be his it could be the fuel that makes him absolutely wreck shit when he gets in there. So we'll see on July 23rd.
Oh, man. Sorry, my
We're
squad's rolling. My team's rolling in. My squad's rolling in. When we get done here, we got our second training session of the day. So
now
we
back
ain't no rush at all, fellas.
At
No
10,
rush.
this guy at 10:30 p.m. He's gonna get out there
I
and
was you
get
know
it
what I
done.
was just talking to somebody about this
I'm
ring
the main
rust.
event, baby.
I
Why would
don't
I
think
be training
so.
at 2:30? See, a lot of guys, and I'm gonna give
True. Right.
some free game to you young fighters. And Jarod, I know you're gonna see this and steal it probably, or you already know. Hopefully, you already know. If you know that you are gonna fight late, that you are, the main event later in the night, then closer to the fight, you start training around the time that you're going to fight. Like we do morning sessions, we do afternoon sessions, and then the week before the fight, we train at night. Why? Because I'm gonna fight at night. And I don't want 10:30, 11:30, almost 12 o'clock at night. And normally the human body is like, oh, the day's over. Let me go ahead and shut down and start relaxing and not be mentally focused and mentally aware. So, we in the gym at night. So that way we can, we're going to get our little bit of calisthenics, cardio, all that good stuff in. And then we all go sit down as a team and do some mental focus and some meditation. It's important to be on game and be aware, especially when you know you're fighting late.
Yeah, man. And I was talking to somebody and
Game for y'all.
they were talking about the fact that you've been out for almost a year, but I was like, man, I don't know if you guys follow him on social media. Reggie never stops training. So I don't think ring rust is a fucking bullshit thing when it comes to a guy like yourself because you never stop training. You've been training this whole time. So how you
And if I'm
feeling
not
going in this?
coaching, I own my own gym, some boxing right here in Chesapeake, VA. And we actually got two kids right now at nationals in Kansas. So we building champions. That's what we do. If I'm not building myself up to be a champion, then I'm helping the youth and I'm helping my kids and my other students. Get
Yeah,
prepared for fight at that level.
you've been out for a little bit. Your last fight was against Johnny. It didn't go your way. We thought when we were there live, and I thought you did enough to win that fight that
I
night.
thought I won too, and if I didn't win, I thought I had did enough to get a draw and get that sudden death 6th round.
Right.
I really did. And when they announced 50-44, I felt like that fucking see, I was supposed to not to drop any F bombs. I'm sorry, Mominger. I felt like that referee was paid off, or he was looking somewhere else during that fight. There's no way
Yeah.
you scored that fight and I didn't win one round. I don't know what he was smoking, what he was doing, what he was drinking over there on the side of that squared circle, but that was a whole bunch of bull crap. But we don't dwell on the past. The past is the
Right.
past. We can't,
I was,
like,
I
we
was,
just better. It's not a loss, it's a learning lesson. And
I
so
was
the
gonna
lesson.
ask you in the year that you've been off, you've been training your kids at the gym and all this stuff, but have you been watching Jarod Grant's rise to 5-0 and he's looked pretty good. Have you been impressed by what you saw about your from your upcoming opponent?
I've always been a fan of Jarod. When Jarod first came in the league, there's a picture of me and Jarod when he won his first fight, and I told him, that I was excited that they were bringing, fresh young talent born in bare knuckle in itself, and that um, you know, he was going to grow in the sport, and that's what I wanted to see. Now, did I expect to be the one to have to get in there and chop his head off so soon? Absolutely not. you know, but we knew at some point in time we were going to have to fight each other. This isn't something that me and Jarod did discuss. You know, I told her, you know, get some more wins under your record. Um, you know, beat up a couple people, and somewhere down the line, my expectation that I was going to be the champion when I fought him. It just so happens that he's the interim champion, whatever the hell that means. You know, but at the end of the day, we knew this fight was going to happen eventually. And so here we are, almost a week away from it, and it's going to be a banger. Jarod is a rising star. He's a good fighter. I'm not sleeping on him at all, you know, and he's still hungry. He has a goal, a dream, a mindset, and so do I. And so when you have two opposite forces that are working really, really hard to accomplish their dream and their goal, and you put them in the clash, all you get is freaking fireworks. So that's exactly what's going to happen. Sorry, there's mosquitoes in the gym. Gotta kill them.
At first, I thought you said there was some Speedos.
Oh,
Oh, what's going on over there?
No, they opened the door, and as soon as they opened the door, the bugs were like, "Ooh, fresh meat!" They started flying in.
Oh man,
Disgrace.
I fucking hate mosquitoes so much. Jeez.
No, hey,
What gotta be the worst thing on the planet, right? One of the worst things ever. The damn mosquitoes.
Reggie, what do you think about the BKFC 5 years after it started up? You've been there basically from the jump. You've watched this sport grow, and now
Oh, go ahead, finish your question now.
now they're venturing off into London. They're bringing in all these big name fighters, but they also have the homegrown talent, like you just said, like yourself and like most of the slaughterhouse boxing guys with Jarod Grant. Those guys are all homegrown bare knuckle fighters. What are your thoughts about the sport 5 years later after it starts up? And what do you think? What do you think should be changed or tweaked? Being an OG like yourself, I feel like you would have some insight on something like that.
I ain't in charge.
But if you were,
I mean, like, if you
Well,
can you would you want to add rounds? Would you want to, like, now
yeah,
that we're
that was
5 years
that was
in?
my main thing. You know, I've always felt like championship fight should be 7 rounds. Period. You know, if you look at other combat sports, um, when it's a championship fight, there's always 2 extra rounds. You know? Give me 2 extra rounds in either the Johnny fights, and he would not have won. I feel like it being a 5 round fight for a championship is not enough. Not if all the other fights in the rest of the night are 5 rounds. What is the
Right.
spectacularity of it being a championship fight if it's
I
the
agree.
same length of all the other fights?
yeah.
That doesn't make, to me, that's never made sense. If there's one thing that I could change in that, and you know, bare knuckle fighting championships in itself, it would be that. And in all honesty, in every title fight that I've had, I have petitioned for 2 extra rounds, and I've always been shot down. So this time, I just let it be. You know, it is what it is. I can't change how the powers that be at work. I am forever grateful to be a part of this organization, a part of this sport, and I will always be a founding father, no matter how my career goes at the end of it. When you bring up bare knuckle fighting championship, uh, Reggie Eaz-E Barnett Educated Hands will be synonymous with the 135-pound weight class, if not the whole organization in general. So, but
Right.
yeah, if there was anything I could change, I would change that. But
The reason why I asked that question is because we had another OG. We had Elvin Brito on last night. So, like, I hold you and Elvin and Christine Faria and like Lorenzo Hunt all in like the same category of, you guys are kind of pioneers of the sport. And we had a nice conversation with him about that, and like possibly like adding open scoring, adding rounds to the championship rounds.
I think open scoring in any essence is a good thing. I like, you know, because it's a give and take for open scoring, you know, because if you're in the lead and you know you're in the lead, you can kind of coast, you know, but if you're behind and you know you're behind, it makes you push a little harder.
Yeah, you got to go for the kill.
You got to go for the kill. So as far as open scoring, and it varies from state to state. Some states have open scoring, and then some states don't. I don't really think you could mandate that within the organization. That's still a athletic commission issue in itself when you talk about the scoring part of it, you know. But also, I feel like there should be more clear cut description on what the judges are scoring on. So
Boom.
that is it because that is also kind of left to, dang, they just rolling in. What's up, bro? Let me finish this interview. I'll be with everybody. Yeah, we deep. It's what? It's almost 10:30 at night. I'll show you. We deep in here. I have an amazing training camp. I have amazing team members. And hey! I'm still interviewing y'all. So
It's almost main event time.
Well,
yeah, it's almost main event time. So
you were talking about it here. The scoring, like we were saying yesterday, there needs to be, an actual. He's going to lay the smack down. Look at don't smack me down, please. No. All right. So what I was saying is last night we were talking to Elvin Brito, and I mentioned to him, like, there needs to be an actual written. Now, it doesn't have to be across the board, because right now, like BKFC, BYB, BKB, that's separate right now. They have different rules, different things. It's not going to happen. But if BKFC, which you're fighting in right now, they sit down and say, all right, this is scoring and this is how it works. Knockdowns, significant strikes, headshots, body shots, ring control. What takes precedence and what are the judges scoring? Because no one even knows that.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows, right? And so at the end of the fight, you look and it's like, this person wins and everybody else thought that person won, and it's like, well, what the hell fight were they watching? Like, you're absolutely right. There needs to be a clear-cut description, interpretation, or I'm missing another word that details exactly what we're going in for, what they're judging us on based upon when we're fighting. Now, as far as I'm concerned anymore, I don't really care what the judges think, whatever, because I'm never stepping in that squared circle with the expectation of it going 5 rounds. Ever again. Never, not after the Johnny fight. I will never, ever be in a bare knuckle fight where I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try to win this decision. Decisions for me in my mind have gone out the window.
Real quick before we move on, I and talk about your fight and all. I want to ask you. You put up a post maybe 4 weeks ago at this point, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you had said it looks like I'm going to be shelved for a year or so. And Feldman actually, one of the only times I've ever seen him get on and actually respond to a fighter, like right there on Facebook. And he was like, didn't I just talk to you about a 125-pound tournament, right? So right there and then it was like, oh, Reggie's going to be in a 125-pound tournament. Boom. Days later, I feel like you're in this fight. What happened to that? And do you know anything about the 125-pound tournament, if that's happening?
Yeah, so me and Dave had communicated back and forth for a little while. I was given a date and a time that it was going to start. And then, he said the fighters, weren't really particularly ready to compete in a tournament yet because they just didn't have enough experience. So I respected that when I was given that initial response in the first time. And then the second time it was pushed again after they had brought some more fighters in, they had got some fights. And then that's why I kind of, made that post. Like, he's like, oh, we're going to have to wait for the tournament a little longer. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, damn, I'm finna be, it's almost a year that I'm finna be inactive. Granted, we had talks, we discussed, he gave me his blessing to box. And so we started looking at that option as far as boxing. But after competing at bare knuckle at the level that I have, any boxers comparable to my record, or even some guys that have better records than me in boxing, did not want to fight me. And I guess for me, that post was to just, I'm a human being. I'm allowed to have emotions. I'm allowed to have feelings. And I was just expressing how I felt. I feel like it ruffled Dave's feathers a little bit. Of course it did. We all know that it ruffled his feathers a little bit. And my camp decided that after he said the tournament was going to be pushed even further back, it was going to be a year. He said, oh, now it's going to be done in August. My manager and my coach and my team got together and they said, well, if Johnny's not coming back and you're not going to, put him up for it's almost a whole year, why don't you just let him fight Jarod? And they asked me, did I want to fight Jarod? And you know me, I'll fight anybody. I don't care. I'm a fighter. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. And so now here we are, like you said, as soon as I made that, it went from being a 125 tournament to now I'm back at 135, which is cool with me. But I'd love to fight at 125. Eventually, I think I will. That tournament will take place when those guys are ready. But they're not. There's nobody at 125 on my level, period. And so it's unfair for me to get in there and beat up all of those guys and be a champion without having to truly be challenged. At least me and Johnny challenged each other. At least this fight between me and Jarod Grant is going to be a challenge for each other. And at the end of the day, that's what people want to see. You know, nobody wants to see somebody who's been doing this a lot longer than the other guys get in there and just clear out a whole division, knowing that he's had the advantage from the jump.
And now you're going to be fighting. Let's talk about your main event here, Jarod Grant. He's 24 years old. He is a much different fighter than Johnny Bedford. You would agree with that statement? Johnny is a brawler.
Yeah.
He gets fucking real dirty and nasty in there. He's longer. He's lanky.
He punched me in the back of the head. He tripped me.
He picked you up over his shoulder.
You know, any way that he could fight dirty to get an advantage in that fight, he did. And,
right. And now
I don't dwell on it, but it is what it is.
Right. And now you're preparing to fight a guy. And if you've watched all his fights, he is a precision fighter, man. He picks his shots. He's very technical. He stays back and he follows a game plan. It's very different from Johnny Bedford. We know you train your ass off and you game plan.
I've already fought two guys like that in the BKFC, and I beat both of them.
Right. I was gonna bring up Chop Chop. When you fought Chop Chop, he was more of a technical boxer as well, but you bullied his ass all over the ring. How do you see yourself in there with the interim champ? You gonna try to toss him around a little bit? I mean, he's watching right now, so I don't want you to give him.
I expect him to be watching. I'm gonna be a bare knuckle fighter. You know, it's a fist fight, and I'm going to adjust. However, see, the thing about it is me being off for so long, I've had an opportunity to work on myself, not just as a fighter in the physical aspect, but in the technical, the mental, the spiritual, all the realms that needed to be worked on for me to grow. And we're going to see the blend of that come out on the 23rd. And so it doesn't matter. I don't care what Jarod's going to, my dad says it doesn't matter what they do when they get in there, it's what you do. And I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm capable of. I know what Jarod can do and what he's capable of. But we're going to see who's better at what they're capable of. And I know I am. I've been fighting longer. I've been in more fights. I've fought in worser places. If that's worser isn't even the word. I fought worse places than Jarod has.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Hey, when we just talked to Jarod a few minutes ago, before we talked to you, he was on here a couple guests ago, and he made a comment that said that he believes after this fight, they're going to drop that interim and they're going to possibly strip Johnny Bedford, and whoever wins this fight is going to be the official champion. I don't know if that's just a theory of his, or have you heard anything like that?
Makes sense. I mean, he hasn't fought forever.
For me,
he hasn't fought in a year.
In all honesty, see, I don't at this point I don't really care. I'm not going into this fight looking at a belt or a title or an accolade. I'm going into this fight grateful to God that I have another opportunity to fight on this level when I have fought in backyards and the streets and man-made cages and living rooms and so many other bad places. You know, so I'm grateful that I get to be a headliner, a main event fight. And then before and when we talk about the emotional, the mental, the spiritual growth aspect of it, I will just be because it takes being honest with yourself, and then you can be honest with the public. I let a little bit of that I got caught up in a little bit of that. And so I wasn't able to perform to the best of my ability because my mental focus wasn't what it needed to be to have that performance. But now I don't care. You can have your interim championship, your world championship, all of that stuff it doesn't matter. I'm looking for a good fist fight. You know, at the end of the day, I want to know that I was in a good fist fight. You know, I'm going to push him to the brink, and I know he's going to push me to the brink, and we're going to bring out the best of each other. And when we bring out the best of each other, it's going to create one of the best bare knuckle fights that's ever probably been seen in the BKFC. They said that Artem Lvov versus who was it? Jason
Knight, yeah.
About to blow that shit out the window.
Oh man. Well,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'd love to see it.
And the reason why is because you have a really technically skilled young man against a really, really experienced, technically skilled old man, as they want to call me. You know? And so it's going to be a war. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be like a 20-car pileup in 12 or however big the ring is feet of space.
Jesus, man. For anybody that's watching the show right now, just listening to Eaz-E over here and Jomi in the last one, the co-main and main events are worth the price of admission alone. Just heading into Tampa, man.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. I'm fired up for these. Big Ben's in the comments. He wants me to ask you about the Shark Tank. What's the Shark Tank?
So the Shark Tank there's different Shark Tanks for different. I'm sure they do it differently in different places, but our Shark Tank, it's whoever is getting prepared for their fight. Essentially, every minute you get a new opponent. For the length or double, it depends on when we start. Like at the beginning of camp, we do 10-round Shark Tank, and every minute of those, however length the round is, I get a new opponent. And so those guys are fresh. They get to sit over there on the sideline and watch, me, work with whoever I'm in with, and then, all right, he's out, the next guy's in. And so it pushes you, not physically, but it also pushes you mentally to push past that point of exhaustion, to push past that point of I don't even know. It builds grit, it builds character, and it brings out it. I call it zoning in. Not a lot of people are able to truly zone in, but when you have a new person thrown at you after you've already been 3 rounds and a new person every minute, and you're tired, you're exhausted, but you got to fight, because if you don't, then you can get your ass kicked. You got to suck it up. You got to dial in. You have to use your skills, your prowess, your craftiness, all of that. It helps you grow as a fighter. And my last Shark Tank freaking sucked, man. I got my butt kicked. I left the gym so defeated that night, but the next day I felt better because I knew I grew. I knew that you don't grow in comfortable places.
Right.
If every sparring session that I went into, if every time I went in the gym, it was easy, because the easy is a conundrum. Nothing about my life has been easy. From the choices that I made and the situations that I've been put in, nothing about my life has been easy.
Yeah, you told us your story the last time you were on here, and it was phenomenal coming through that and where you are.
I love doing the Shark Tank. I go to the gym and I'm like, yo, coach, can we do a Shark Tank this week? He's like, no, Reggie, we did one last week. You don't need to do another one this week. Because I know that in that hardness and in that suffering, essentially,
mm-hmm.
When we did that first 10-round Shark Tank, I'm going to say the last 3 rounds, I got my ass kicked. There's some of my teammates mercied me. I know they mercied me. They were just like, he's just too tired to fight back now, but he's still fighting. And every now and then I would crack him with a good shot, and they'd be like, all right, now I got to take it to his ass again. So a Shark Tank helps you grow, and it's an important part of the process. If you're going in the gym and just whitewashing everybody you spar with all the time, then you're not getting better as a fighter. You're not growing as a person, because it helps you grow physically, mentally, and that's needed to become a better fighter.
Well, we've been watching you train, man. I mean, you post things on you seem like you never stop, like we just talked about. You're there all day. You're fucking there in the morning.
One thing about it is nobody will outwork me. Somebody was commenting on my stamina and my conditioning or whatever. Nobody will outwork me. I'll outwork myself. Sometimes my dad has to tell me to sit down. No, son, don't do another one. We were doing plate slides the other day, where you put a metal plate down on the concrete and you got to slide it all the way across one side of the parking lot to the other.
Yeah.
And I did number 4 and I was done. I was absolutely done. And I was looking at the plate like, nah, I got one more in me. And I went over and I picked it up and I set it down and I got ready to go. And my dad came over. He said, stop. He said, you've done enough, son. I said, no, I haven't. He said, yeah, you have. So sometimes I have that drive, that push in myself, where my own teammates, my own coaches have to reel me back in. When you know that you work that hard, there are not other people. There's nobody out there in the world built like me. I'll do one more, even if I know it might kill me, even if I know I might lay on the ground for another 5 minutes before I can get up and move on to the next part of my training. And that's just how I am. I don't know where I got it from. I guess I was just born with that drive.
But you got it.
Got it. Yeah. So when it gets nitty and gritty, when it gets tough, when when most people feel like they don't have any more or they can't give anymore, I'm that guy that's like, no, I'm gonna give some more, even if I don't have it.
Well, dude, I can tell you right now, I've been getting tired watching your training videos. And I used to be a gym rat, and now I'm just a fat old 40-year-old. So, with that said, it's great to have you back. You've been a long away from the squared circle far too long. You're getting back in there. You're fighting the top competition. It's fucking where you should
I
be.
always want the top. See, in boxing,
Yeah, it's where you should be.
I love fighting undefeated guys. I love challenging myself.
So, everybody's in for a treat that night, July 23rd, BKFC Fight Night, Tampa 2, main event, Jarod Grant versus Reggie Barnett Jr. in his return from far too long off. Let's do a speed round with you so you can get back to your 10:30 training session, all right?
Yeah, no worries.
Let's do it. And I think, and I wrote this first question, and I think you answered it earlier. First question for you out of the speed round was, what is something that you changed about bare knuckle right now? And I think you mentioned that with the 7 round.
Add more rounds.
Add
if it's
more rounds.
Going to be a championship fight, then I need 2 more rounds. Make it a championship fight. In boxing, a regular fight, 10 rounds. Championship fight, 12 rounds. MMA, regular fight, 3 rounds. Championship fight, 5 rounds. Give me my 2 rounds. Let's see who is really, really, truly built to be a champion.
I can't believe that. I can't believe how many fighters say exactly what you're saying, and it hasn't happened yet. I just don't.
It'll happen. That's what it makes.
I think
makes
that
me
will
believe
happen.
it's going to happen because of this. It's just the pressure and people repeating. They'll give the fans and the fighters what they want to see. It'll happen.
Hey, maybe in Florida they'll give us our 7-round fight when we get down there. Come on, Dave. You know you want to see me in Jared extra rounds if it makes it that far anyway. But like I told you, I have absolutely no plan. Jared's gonna finish me or I'm gonna finish him. That's how this is going.
Jared's
never walk into another fight with the expectation of it going to a decision.
Look at this right here. Boom. That's Jared's coach, Ryan Perez, right there. I agree with the 7 rounds thing. I think we should at least ask for it.
All right, go ahead, Ryan. You asked for it. I'm down for it. I know Jared's down for it. Let's get it.
Let's do it. Number 2.
A week out, gonna change to 7. All right, number 2. Who's on your bare knuckle Mount Rushmore?
Luis Palomino, Lorenzo Hunt, Christine Ferreira, and
that's 3. We got 1 more.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. We need another woman up there. It's got to be 2 and 2, but I can't think of.
I mean, the only other woman that, I mean, you could go with the other champions, but when you talk other women for the sport of bare knuckle, you had Beck that held the title, you had Helen Peralta but I feel like nobody's done as much work as Britain Hart.
I was thinking that was like literally on the tip of my tongue.
Britain, right?
I would give it to Britain. She is just like me. She has came up the hard way. She has scraped and scratched and earned her notoriety. She's lost teeth like me. She's taken ass whoopings like, you know what I mean? So, and I love Britain Hart. She knows that.
It was Luis Palomino.
No, my apologies. It is a tie between either Britain or Arnold Adams. I'd say that I'd have to do 2 and 2, and I'd love to put 2 men and 2 women up there. If I put 2 men and 2 women, you got my men, and I would put Britain as the other woman. But if I didn't, then Arnold Adams would be the 4th hit on it.
This is your Mount Rushmore, and you can put 5 people if you want to put 5 people.
Well, then put fucking Britain and Arnold up there.
There it is. Number 3 question for you, not fight related. Who's the greatest TV mom of all time?
My mom.
She's a TV mom?
I like the sitcom.
Your life's a sitcom, and your mom's the greatest. Yeah, your momager, right? That's what you call her?
Come on, you thought I wasn't going to come on. My mom is the matriarch of not just the Barnett family, but so many other families tied to my family. And like I said, our life is a sitcom. If you got some cameras and followed her around 24/7 in her interactions with the world and everybody around her, the ratings would be phenomenal.
So I think you better get a cameraman then.
Yeah, people be forgetting all about the Kardashians and the fucking Wahlbergs and all them guys. We need the Barnetts on the TV.
None of that is real.
Camp takes the town.
Yep.
None of that is real.
Number 4 for you.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Doug.
Doug.
Yes, that was my favorite cartoon growing up. I have watched every episode. I probably watched them more than once. I absolutely love Doug.
Nice.
There
I
you
love
go. And
Doug.
last question for you, Reggie. We'll let you get out of here. How do you see the Christine Faria Taylor Starling fight playing out in Albuquerque?
Taylor's gonna get knocked out.
Knocked out. There you go.
I
It'll
don't
be
have
the first.
anything against. I don't have any. Taylor, just so you know, I love you, sweetheart. I have absolutely nothing against you. I don't disbelieve in your abilities and your capabilities at all. But when you talk about there are levels to this, you're just not there yet. Can you get there?
She
Should
took
you have
this too
taken
fast?
another fight or two to get there? You should have. But right now, I think she's bitten off more than she can chew. And I'm not saying that just because me and Christine are really good friends. I'm saying I'm looking at it from the outside in. It's just there are levels to this sport. There are levels to this game, and she should have taken the opportunity to have another fight or two to increase her level before she jumped in there and tangled with the best person.
You know, she was asking for it, Reggie, but she could also be a victim of the talent pool. Like there really isn't anybody else out there for Christine to fight. So
if she doesn't knock her out, she's gonna make her quit.
there you go, man. Educated hands giving you his call on that main event. I'm going to give you a minute, shout a few people out, thank a few people, and give us your final prediction if you want to give us a prediction.
So many sponsors. I don't know if I want to always ramble off the list of my sponsors, and of course, my mom just sent me the list right before we got here. J&K, JDIS, Ashore Construction, SNN Suites, Fight Heads MMA. Did I miss anybody? Fight Bros, David Burnett. I'm not going back over there. If I missed you, let me see. Damn Dware. Thank you guys, all my sponsors. Thank you so much. Cryo Spa. Thank you guys so much for your love and support and just believing in me. Thank you two guys for bringing me back on. It's been a while. We gotta chop it up again sometime. We gotta do like a card that I'm not fighting on. Just like a little, what do they call it when you just sit down and watch the fights and chop it up? It's
a fight companion.
Companion. We got to do one of those sometime.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Maybe we'll do the London one.
Oh, that would be dope. Yes, if y'all can lock that in, I'm 100% there. I'm 100% down for that.
We'll get a couple people in on this and get a nice fight companion for the London card. That sounds good.
And then I got to give a shout out to Jarod, man. I'm coming to whoop your ass, but at the same time, man, I respect the hell out of you because you didn't have to take this fight. You are putting everything that you worked so hard for on the line, and a man like that you have to respect, and I respect the hell out of that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna chop your head off.
There you have it, people, man. It's all respect, but it is a fight. July 23rd, you guys got yourselves a main event and a co-main event that is must-see TV. Jarod Grant and Reggie Barnett Jr. in the main event. I can't wait for this one.
BKFC, if you haven't already subscribed, get that BK TV app. Check out my profile on Instagram. Check out my profile on Facebook, Reggie Eaz-E Barnett Jr. Click on my link. Support the cause. It's right below. And this is a card you don't want to miss. Absolutely. These two fights are going to be absolutely fantastic. Y'all know me. I'm coming to fight every and any time I see that square circle I put on the show. And
absolutely, man.
Best performances of my life because I know that if I don't go out there and do it, I may not ever get another opportunity.
Well, we're excited to see you back in there, Jarod. You got anything else for? Reggie, you got anything else for him, Mike?
Nope, I'm good to go. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to doing a fight companion with you in the future. Get that work in tonight, and we will see you.
We're about to get to work.
All right, man. Thank you very much, and we will see you down in Tampa, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great evening.
All right, take it easy.
Later.